Hi, this is Zia, and this is
Kamana, and welcome to Holistic Nomads TV,
where ancient wisdom and modern science can help you to have more clarity and energy in your life. Welcome to another episode with us, Holistic Nomads, and today's topic is a very special one because we are going to reveal a system that Kimana co-created. Actually, Kimana created. Kimana created for the school that he co-created with two other amazing teachers, which is Ayurvedic yoga. And in this episode, we are going to reveal, as I said earlier, about a process called Ayurvedic Heart Compass. So can you tell a little bit about what is Heart Compass? Why do you create it in the first place?
Basically, we all go through many psychological and emotional challenges over our life, and this process is designed to align our mind and our heart with the most beneficial relationship to challenges, to create more trust in the process, and at the same time as we trust, to still act on what we think is best, but to get our mind in a way where we're really more likely to find the best decision. We're not clouded by our previous thoughts and emotional attachments from the past, and our body in a way to move through the process where it creates less disease and more happiness with life.
Yeah, so this process is based on the 5-element system, which is go through the ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Could you please explain why you choose the metaphor of the 5 elements?
It's not a traditional relationship to the elements here. It was me using the traditional understanding of how the elements form and the order that they move through from ether, space to earth, and using that as a metaphor for people to recognize that that's also a staged approach of how we can move through many different experiences of life, and how if we want to create the best form, the best outcome, the best earth element, that we need to look at how we move through this elemental process in order to get to which action or form we're creating. So I guide people through a metaphor of different states to awaken to in order to have the best actions.
Yeah, so let's go through the questions for each elements. About question, why is it question? Why not a statement?
Questions and statements do different things inside our psychology, and I also work with statements too. In fact, yesterday as I was marking someone's grading for Ayurvedic, I specifically made a whole A4 resource designed to understand the difference between empowering questions and empowering statements. And the main difference is empowering questions can be used at the most challenging times, at the time where you might completely disbelieve that the other state is possible, freaked out, life's completely insecure, and to say the question, what would it feel like to be more grounded and trust life, is quite different to saying the statement, I am grounded and trust life. When your body's really out there and you're obviously not trusting life, then there's going to be part of you that goes, bullshit, this little scumbag voice from inside that says, no, I do not trust life. What you're saying is incorrect. Whereas a question implies the possibility. What would it feel like to trust life more? What would it feel like if I was even more grounded? And we're just encouraging the possibility to come forward. So questions can take us from the most challenging states and encourage light of a different option, whereas statements are more like, most of my body's onto it, I'm now ready to affirm even more of what I already have.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you say it about what would it feel like to trust life. My whole body, like the way I sit up was so different. I was suddenly just sitting straight up and then just more expand. I was breathing even more, inhale deeper. It's so interesting compared to, let's say, what you said, you are grounded and trusting life. And then I'm like, really? Am I? It's like you said, it gives such a different things to my psychology, to my mind, between the difference between giving an empowering question and just like, or people call it affirmations, statements. So let's go through each questions. So the first one relating to the element of ether and you already mentioned that. The question is, what would it feel like to trust, surrender, and accept this with an open heart? Can you explain why do we even need to trust? Why do we even need to start this process with trust and surrender?
So I've used these three words here for a specific reason: trust, surrender, accept. Those three are the first thing that we'll need to go through in relation to any challenge of life. That there may be some higher purpose involved in this. I'm not alone, and that if I trust the divine process that's taking place, I'm more able to see where the light might be, more able to see what possible benefit may come about. It's only through trusting that we can really see the moment as it is. If we're not in trust, we're creating all sorts of emotion and discord between us and what's being guided by the universe around us.
It's like there's a saying, a sand in your hand, the more you hold on to that, on what you think it should happen, instead of like, yeah, I trust it's gonna be there, is actually you will lose the sand even more. So I think trust can come to like just letting the sand there, and it's going to be there, compared to like hold on to whatever mistrust, actually misbelief that you might have.
Yeah.
So the second question relating to air element, and that is, what could have been great about this? Why do you choose that question?
So we use from first this ether, surrendering to whatever has happened in life, and then now we start to look at what could be great, and if your mind's strong enough, what could also be negative about this. At the wind element, we observe which directions could take place and why. The challenge is that most people often start on the negative foot. They usually go to, what could be bad about this? Oh my God, this could happen and that could happen.
I'm a victim in this.
Rather than spending enough time on the what could be great about this, there could always be something great within every possibility. So we've got to look for that. And at this point, I would write down the action organ of air, the wind element is the hands. So we use our hands and we write down what could be great about this. And at this point, just fantasize, make up all sorts of things. I missed the bus, so if I got on the bus, I could have been in a car accident. And because I'm going to be late, I'm actually going to be at the perfect time to come in and meet this person. We don't know. You just fantasize what could be great about this. Once you've really done that, you'll have a much better understanding of the situation, because you would have figured out what could have been bad, what could be great, and you might really go, oh, there could be a different direction here that I didn't see before.
What happens if the person finds it difficult to see the positivity towards it? Should they continue with the next question, or should they like keep trying?
Each different state should be a preliminary in order to move to the next. So we should focus on that state for long enough just to give it the possibility. They don't have to be fully agreeing with it, but it's just to be like, oh, I could trust life a little bit more. Yeah, okay, what could be great about this? Oh, I've got 3 things that could be great about this. Yeah, I've got a few things that are there, now I could move on. But if you can't get anything great, you don't move on to the next step. And this is why I encourage this process to be worked through with a person, with a practitioner. We'll give you a list of people that have been trained in this at the end.
So even the first question about trusting and surrender and accepting, that's a very hard thing to do. So if you haven't fully embodied that, then just stay in that first step, because you might not go through
That's all you might need to say. What would it feel like to trust even more? And just say that same question to yourself 9 times a day for 20 days. And that's all you're working on, is just the first state. And that's totally okay. You could just be working on that for a long time. If you're with a practitioner, they may be able to guide you quicker from that first feeling state into the second one, which is the thinking state. Now we're thinking and analyzing. The first one, the question is not meant to get answers. What would it feel like to trust? We don't write down the things of how it would feel. We just go, what would it feel like to trust? What would it feel like to trust? Trust. What would it feel like to accept? What would it feel like to surrender? And we just keep on asking those questions, because the body doesn't have a choice but to answer them. Subconsciously, we are answering those questions and creating that possible state, that possibility of a different way inside our being.
Next question, third step. What may I need to purify and transform about the issue?
So within each issue, there's a reason why we are having this emotional discord, this friction inside of us, and we need to look at what might that be. What am I not able to move through because of a certain belief system or structure I have in the past? So we start to look at our beliefs and go, how could I evolve or burn away a previous understanding that I've had in life? So this will usually get back to some core attachment. So if it's related to a person, then the core attachment of that person always being there. A practitioner would guide you through a meditational process inside yourself where you may want to find out, what is it that I need to purify? Oh, it's my attachment towards money. It's my attachment towards the way I look. It's my attachment towards this relationship. What is the deeper attachment? And then ask yourself, where in the body might that be living? Oh, where does my attachment to my wife live? Oh, I feel like it lives here, in my body. And then where in the body could I express that in a certain way? What words would I use to express and talk about that? We could use a fire meditation of 12 different spinning balls of fire, and we visualize that moving through that area and purifying that attachment that takes place.
Next question, relating with the element of water. What would it feel like to embrace this situation with love and then feel it fully? Now, this is a really interesting question because when we go through difficult times, it's challenging, it's painful, it's suffering. And then part of us is, of course, like, why do I want to feel that? And then this question is doing the exact opposite of actually, you need to feel that through and feel that through with love. So why do we need to do that?
If it's gotten to the point where we've already created the thought and we've already created emotion around an issue, then that emotion will store inside the body. So there's the precursor, the yogic pathway of not creating the thought so much, not leading down that process, not creating the emotion. Too late for most humans. We're already in the emotion. Once we've gotten to that point of emotion in the body, we need to feel it to heal it. We need to really experience it and allow it to move through the system. And as long as we keep feeling it with more of the same emotion, it tends to store. When we feel it with the preliminaries that we've set up, a trust in the divine process of life, and understanding that there could be beneficial things related to this, purifying of our old relationship. Now when we feel it at this water point here, we're more likely to be able to heal it and move through the system because of the internal relationship we've created. If you already know you have a certain dominant dosha, then it's likely you would start this process naturally at that step. If Vata is dominant, you probably start at the wind-air step with fears and worries and how it could go wrong. If Pitta is dominant, you probably start at the fire step, but instead of burning and purifying, transforming internally, you act and you put blame on how I could change and act something and purify and transform something in the world to change the situation. So in this context, we turn the lens inwards. What do I need to purify and transform inside myself to change the situation? If you're Kapha dominant, you probably started at the emotions. Oh, how does it feel? Oh, I feel trapped. I feel this. I feel sad. I feel lonely. But in a way that's still building more of that emotion. Whereas the lens that we've introduced, the frame to move into this, allows us to feel the emotion in a way that makes it easy for it to move through the body.
I think that's very, very important step because most of us, or just talking about myself, when I go through difficult times, part of me just like, this is too painful, I don't want to experiencing it. So I just like numb myself. I just find distraction, go somewhere, eat chocolate, like just basically many ways for me to not to feel that because it's very painful to feel all of those. And then, we as human, or I as human, wants to feel good all the time. So it's such a, contra-intuitive things to actually, you need to feel it. And yet, based on many experience that I've gone through the last couple of years of the importance of when things happen, not nice things, not pleasant things happen, it's actually much better to feel that now compared to holding in the baggage, holding, and then at some point it's exploded and it's too stinky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is a really good analogy of like, imagine you have a bag with potatoes, and then you're taking it everywhere you go.
I remember the potato analogy. Yeah,
Potato bag. And then first you're taking it, of course you feel pain in your your back, your shoulder, because you're carrying these, potatoes. Let's say only 1 kilo, but after some time, this 1 kilo is heavier and heavier and heavier. And not only heavier, after a few weeks or let's say years, it's actually getting rotten and smelly. So this is very interesting concept that is so counterintuitive for many of us, or let's say me at the beginning, because we just feel like it's better to put the potato. I don't want to see it, just put it in the bag. Better not to see it. But actually, the more we kind of like putting it out there, don't want to feel it, is actually create more problem in the long term, that not only we experiencing it, but also someone else might started to like, there's something wrong with you. Like, those people that has like bad vibes, but we don't even know why. Probably don't even know why, because they're bringing all these bags.
Stinky potatoes.
Yeah. Stinky baggage potatoes for so many years. So it's really important message that you share, especially in this one, is to just feel it through. If it's painful, go for it. Like, keep eating it for breakfast. Feel it.
Yeah. At the same time, check that we have the right state of mind, so we're not just pondering and increasing the emotional content.
Which is why it's important to go through this process, ideally with a practitioner, so that you don't lose yourself in that process.
Yeah, you're not just staying in the emotion, and that we are moving through the emotion with an outcome and a reason.
Also, you were mentioning about the specific areas. If you're like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they're already organs or part of the body where emotion usually live. I need to say from my experience that for the last 5 years being with you, I noticed that if something happening with me, like emotionally, then straight away I knew that part will will react. Like for me, it was my lower back pain.
Yeah.
And then a part of my scapula, which is related to Pitta, because I'm also Vata and Pitta. So it's so interesting how our human tendency when it reacts to emotion.
Yeah.
Last question related with earth element. The question is, what small step could I apply right now to anchor this experience into my life? I really like the question that you put in here, specifically the words small step. Can you explain more?
Basically, we want to bring people out of a mental and emotional process and make sure that we are still acting and performing in life, that regardless of what challenge goes on in life, it is our actions that speak louder than words. And here we want to make sure that there is an action that is moving towards the realization of what we've just gone through in the process. It can be really small. It can be a movement of the arms into a certain position. It could be the writing of something down. It could be calling someone. It could be making a certain food. Whatever it is, it's an action that we perform in life, that we move out and we change and influence this direction that we want to move towards. So we've created a heart compass. We've switched off the barriers that stop the heart from being able to listen. We've moved through a process of listening to the heart and getting that intention clear and creating a nice direction in life. And now we want to make sure that we keep acting, that we move through with our life, because time is an amazing healer. And as we keep doing positive actions for our life, time reflects that back to us. And it's those actions that influence and change us. So how can we make actions in those directions?
Anything else you would like to add?
Just that I think this program is really beneficial. I've had lots of experience with people in the past. They've been getting great results with it. I think if you'd like to try it at home, it could really benefit you too. It rewires our brain and the way in which we deal with future challenges too. So the first step would be that you could download the A4 template that we'll be putting along with this class. The challenge with that template is that it's designed for a practitioner to be leading someone through the process. So this short introduction in the class might not be so easy for you to do. And even if you can, the depth at which you can do the process with someone else leading you is always more. So I highly recommend to do the process with a practitioner. You can find out the practitioners on the Ayurvedic directory and see if there's someone in the world that's close to you. If not, you can just pick someone on there and work with Skype and online too. They just need to be able to hear your voice and see you and move through the process together. If you're interested to learn more about the process and how to do it with other people and possibly become a practitioner, it's part of the Level 1 Yoga Therapist program. We offer that in different places around the world, and that program is also part of the bigger 200-hour training we have in Bali in 2019. I hope to share with you at one point in the future. Keep sharing the wisdom.
Now, theory without practice is wasteful because hearing leads to forgetting, teaching leads to remembering, and applying leads to mastering. That's why we will encourage you to leave a comment below and share one learning insight from this video. Also, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you will be the first to hear about our future educational videos. And for more resources on health and healing, check out our website holisticnomads.com. There you will find articles, quizzes on Ayurveda, loads of free downloads, and of course, our future events and courses. Thank you so much for watching. We hope it's been beneficial for you. Hope to see you next week. Bye!
It's a really great process. We've had a lot of good results with this. Yeah. I'm not sure what that means. I'm going to have to start that again.
I said sorry.